Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show, episode number 1. You guys didn't know this was coming, nor did I, really. But anyway, we are here. I'm going to be joined with Ethan Tunstall. He's joining me here for this episode. He's going to be a regular part of the show. But ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. We're going to be going through everything that is arm wrestling this week. We're going to be talking about today's episode. We've got Arm Fights Unleashed 2.1 to talk about. Big card coming up. Then we're going to be focusing on some of the East versus West announcements. John Brzenk v. Petrenko, Todd Hutchings via Rackley, Michael Todd v. Prudnik, and anything else that is up. You guys can interact with us. Let us know. Ask us your questions, and we will get to it. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Ethan Tunstall. How are you, brother?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Mate, you are looking good on that camera. Let me just get that sorted. Oh, look at you. I've never seen you look so clear. Let's kill the music. How are you, man?
Yeah, pretty well. Survived the floods.
Survived the floods. Good stuff. And as we welcoming people in, if you didn't know, the Brisbane floods were going on. They've been going on pretty good. But we got Lachlan Gasparini. He says he's here before Benji Mack. Big Frank says we're waiting for Devon to go live, but you'll do for a few. Oh no, Devon's going to go live. We're going to lose all our viewers. Josh Barker says, "Big man Ethan." You and Josh Barker. I remember what happened last time with you guys. Yes, that was a good match. But, ladies and gentlemen, like we said today on the Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show, we're going to be going through Arm Fights Unleashed 2.1, which is only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Oh, my goodness. I'm sweating a few bullets on a few things, which we can discuss later. But anyway, it's 2 weeks away. Bozhidar Simonov, yes, that's the main event. Myself and Bozhidar, can't wait. But then, like I said, we're going to go through all the things that are going on East versus West. We're going to talk about John Brzenk, the resurgence of John Brzenk. And Todd Hutchings seems to be doing the same. And like I said, you guys feel free to ask us your questions, any chats, super chats, all this stuff we will get to as well. But let's kick it off, man, with Arm Fights 2.1. Ethan, you're in it. I almost forgot that you were in it, but you're in it. Who are you facing, man? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I'm facing Torben. So big challenge. I'm really, really excited for this card. I think we've got a really, really cool draw. We've got a couple of more experienced pullers. We've got Kyle Howarth out in Perth, of course, mega hook on that dude. We've got Torben as well, mega top roll, really good hook too, even though he doesn't use it as much. But you got that experience coming there. And then versing Kyle in the first round, we're going to have Greg Allen. A little bit more untested, but boy, he's got a strong hand on him.
Yeah, the lineup is like a sort of a 105 kilo sort of yourself. You're about 105, yeah? Torben the same, Greg the same. Kyle's the outlier. He's only like 93, 94 kilos. But, if I had to pick it, I think Kyle deserves the title of the favorite. I think he deserves that title. But I don't know. This is a genuinely hard one to call. But Juju Mugu is coming with the very first super chat of the night, $9.99. Juju Mugu, you're the man. First super chat of the show. You're mark that one down in the history books.
First one
ever. Pound Arm Wrestling Show. First super chat goes to Juju Mugu, and he says first super chat with some sunnies. So well done, Juju Mugu, on that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. But yeah, man, Kyle Howarth he's one of the guys that internationals don't know that he exists necessarily, but they should. He's been arm wrestling for 10 years, and he's been arm wrestling at the highest level. When I first arrived in 2014 into the sport, Kyle was the man to beat in my weight category. It was Kyle and Grant Tolentino that were just constantly fighting it out. And anytime I touched either of those hands, I got drilled. So they've been doing it a while. They're at a good level, but then he's facing Greg Allen, and Greg Allen is one of the most freakishly feeling arm wrestlers of a pull.
Greg Allen is scary. It's really interesting with Greg. He's got such an awkward lane, really, really awkward lane with that solid pronation and strong fingers as well. So it's competing that with that new person awkwardness. He doesn't quite move the way you feel like he should, but it works to his advantage most of the time because you're just not quite sure how to approach his tools.
Yeah, and interestingly, when we look at the 4 pullers that are in this arena battle, 3 of them are outside pullers predominantly, yourself included. Kyle's the only one. He's a hook press guy. I always feel bad for him having to deal with that many top rollers, tall top rollers. All of you guys are tall top rollers. Poor Kyle's going to be up to your chin and trying to hook press you guys over 6 rounds. Is that going to be a detriment to him or what?
I think that is probably his biggest challenge. He's going to come from facing Greg, who is a very high posting top roller, and if his hand survives that, and if he gets through that, he's going to be against Torben or myself, who are again just going to be going straight into those fingers. So going to be a big challenge over 12 rounds.
Yeah, that's nasty. It's nasty, but like I was saying before, I think Kyle actually deserves to be the favorite, and the reason I say that is just the experience and like he flash pins people with that press, even when they're set as a top roll. Often takes a while to get a feel for Kyle, and Kyle can go from no load to just bam, there's a big press. So that'll be interesting. Your match. Tell us about your match. Who are you taking on?
Taking on Torben. Should be a fun one.
Torben's the man that busted this up on me. Ethan was there. He saw it happen. How are you going to deal with the Viking that is Torben Pelican?
With great difficulty, but great excitement. I love it. It's a really big challenge. So we're very similar in a lot of ways. We've got very similar leverage. We've got a very similar style. It's really a battle of top rolls, most likely. I don't think he really wants to try to come forward and hook me. I definitely don't want to hook him. So it's going to be a real technical battle.
What happens if the match ends up in a hook? Can you? How do you pin Torben? Because I think I can imagine you stopping Torben pinning you, but I can't see how you pin him. And then it just gets into this. Well, okay, what happens next? Someone fades eventually and can't defend anymore. But Torben has a really awkward sticking point that's real nasty, and it's just hard to get him down that last 2 inches. Are you prepared for that?
Sure hope so. Yeah, I want to stay away from that hook. I can see myself getting stops in a hook. I can't really see myself winning the bleed battle in a hook with Torben. I think we both know that. But I really just want to try stay over his pronation, stop him from getting that nasty open top roll out, and just from there access the biceps by disengaging his pronation.
Yeah, nice. Well, you've pulled Torben before, yeah?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was 3 weeks ago.
No, ready.
I've had a match with him before, and that was 4 or 5 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, and he got the win that day.
He did get the win that day.
Okay, it's going to come down to a hand battle between these two guys. Center table, Venom is going to be where it's at. Torben, the more defensive puller. You're the more offensive puller. If you get through, who do you prefer, Kyle or Greg?
Oh, that's a tricky one. If they're in a war, I prefer Greg.
Yeah,
because I would hope his pronation has been tight enough that I can contain it. If they haven't, I think I'm going to have to go with Kyle. Not because I think I'd stand an awesome chance in that one, as you said. I think he deserves to be the favorite there. But just because Greg historically has been a bit of my kryptonite whenever we've gripped up.
Yeah, nice. Now I'm going to ask YouTube a poll here. People, I don't know how well people know everyone in this, but I'm asking. Question: in this arena battle, here we go, YouTube. Who takes it? The 4-man arena battle. I've just asked who takes it. Let's see if the people watching Ethan Tunstall fans, or if they're gonna just hammer you. Anyway, we got the poll up there now. So, ladies and gentlemen, vote in that poll who you think's gonna win. Just to if you don't know who these guys are, the quick recap: they're 105 kilo class. Well, Kyle Howarth coming in strong at 67%. He's the favorite. Ethan getting a few votes. Torben at 30%. Greg, no votes yet. Look, don't underestimate Greg. Greg is nasty. Really nasty. They call him the chainsaw.
Yeah. Out of all of us, he's got the strongest hand. I'd argue. There's no question.
To give you perspective, when I grip Greg, it's impossible. I cannot pin Greg outside of straps. I have to get the straps. I cannot hold on to him and go high or low. I have to just go, no, I'm getting out of here. But Kyle Howarth coming in there, 55% of the vote. Fair call. I agree. He should be the favorite. He's the most decorated arm wrestler, the most experienced arm wrestler, but he is the lightest. That's the problem. Then Torben coming in at 27%, and Ethan 18%.
18%. I like that. I can work with 18%.
Yeah. Well, we've seen the evolution of you over the last few years. You're troubling me more than anyone these days.
Having a lot of fun with it too.
He has the secret sauce, the recipe, the code, whatever you want to call it. He understands how to beat me better than I think anyone. Uh, like to give you some perspective, I'll pull with Jordan, and Jordan currently kicks your ass, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Jordan ranked 4 in Australia. I can control Jordan. No worries. Ethan gets on the table, and I struggle relative to how I go against Jordan. I can beat Jordan easier than I can beat Ethan. So
So Bojidar, if you want me in your corner, I'll
No.
accept some bribes here.
no. Bojidar, you are not allowed to ask this man what to do.
Oh.
Thankfully, I think Bojidar is so locked into his one style. He's a one ace man. But as we wrap up this poll, it ends. Oh, you're going to like this. Kyle 38, Torben 31, Ethan 31, Greg 0. No one's backing Greg. But there you go. That's pretty cool. All right. So Ethan coming in at equal second favorite.
Yeah.
You and Torben there. Well, if you get through Torben and Kyle is exhausted, because Kyle will be exhausted if you get through Greg. Greg won't make it easy. It's hard. So it may be the case. Now, on to the main event. I'm going to ask the poll. I'm asked YouTube the question here as well. I want to know, YouTube, where are we at? Who takes it? Main event, Arm Fights Unleashed. Bojidar Simeonov. No, I think I spelled his name right there. Ryan Darwin. There we go. Now this one, this one will be the main event of the day. Ethan, what's going to happen in this match?
Well, we had a bit of a scare recently, didn't we, with your elbow?
We did, thanks to Torben.
So I think that put a bit of a question mark for a little bit. But with that coming good, you know what? I'll back you. I train with you. I'll back you on this one.
Nice. I do feel healthy again. I wasn't sure. It was about 2 weeks ago that I did some degree of strain in a ligament. And if I dig my elbow in there, my fingers in there now, it's tender, but really, like my left is not. But last night I arm wrestled with Jordan, and I could do everything to my full force, and the pain was very minuscule and mild at worst. And end of the day, there's always pain in an arm wrestler's elbow, and so it's back to that normal, tolerable level of pain, which I'm totally fine with. So I'm happy with that. Oh, and the votes so far, I'll leave this one up for a while, but Ryan Bowen, 53%. I like it. Here we go. My followers, I'm glad they're back. I'm sure if Bojidar asked this question, it'd be 97% saying Bojidar will win. But I do feel really good. Now, the weight in respect to this, Bojidar was 87 kilos when he pulled Kirsten, Prodigy, the other day. And Bojidar said to me, I'll be heavier when I get there. I'm just going to keep it. So we might get a 90 kilo Bojidar or something. He's, of course, the 80 kilo world champion. And I'm currently 94 and a half kilos in the morning. So I'll be probably 95 and a bit by the time the day comes and there's food in my belly and I'm wearing clothes and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a 95 and a half kilo me versus a 90 kilo Bojidar. And I'm going straight. I plan to go directly into the hook. I will not. Round one, I'm not running. I'm not trying to disengage him. I want to just go into the power and find out who's stronger.
Yeah. At 80 kilos, very, very few people have been able to pin him in a hook recently. And so him coming up to 90 kilos, he's a scary dude. We mentioned he was world champion. It's a four-time world champion at 80 kilos?
I'm not sure, but yeah. I think it's very clear that he is the number one ranked arm wrestler in the world at 80 kilos. He had a 6-0 victory in Arm Wars over Vladislav Krasovskis on the right arm. He lost to him on the left, but then they traded that again at Europeans, I think. But yeah, he's solid, and it's honestly it's the litmus test that I've been waiting for. Finally, it's been 2.5 years since I've had the opportunity to pull an international, and I am pumped for it. Yeah, it's the match. It's the sort of match I've wanted for a long time. I just get to get the update finally. I don't care what the result really is, because I'm not stopping regardless. But this is just the update. I personally cannot see it going flash pin for either of us. I can't see. I don't think it's possible for either of us to flash pin. I'd be if he flash pinned me, I'd be stunned. He could flash pin me if I was running, and I was round one scared of him because he could disengage me, and then there's nothing there. But with the declaration of intent of I'm just going to do this, and he's just going to do this, there's no flash pin there. It will be. And then I think YouTube. This is what I think is going to happen. I'm going to move him about 3 centimeters this way. He's going to stop me. He's going to move me about 12 centimeters this way. I'm going to stop him, and then we arm wrestle. This is where match on. And what happens at match on becomes technical, becomes endurance, becomes all sorts of crazy wizardry and dark arts, whatever you want to call it. That's when it gets interesting. Bojda's firming up as the favorite. Now he's come in at 52% as more people are thinking about it and going, oh, yeah, okay. Josh Barker says Alan Zoloev beat Bojda at 80 kilos. Thoughts? What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, well, it shows that he's not completely out of the realm of everybody else at 80 kilos, but that's one name, two names recently.
Did you see Giannis pulling him on the side table after the Malta?
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
Okay, Giannis made me want to top roll again. I'm like, Giannis, don't make me tempted to top roll, because Giannis was doing wonderfully well on the side table. It's practice and it's slow starts and it's very different because of it. But Giannis was able to find a real ability to flatten his hand. Giannis couldn't just pin him, but Giannis was very safe, and they played this game of endurance and trying to get position, and it was Giannis who ended up getting the position necessary to finish. So it made it interesting. But some of the interesting characteristics, I know you like to analyze biomechanics when it comes to how a match is going to go. What do you think about this? I was quite surprised. I was genuinely taken a bit back when Bojda called me. We were on a video call, and he asked me, "What's the size of your hand, Ryan? Tell me your elbow to fingertip, Ryan." And I said, "Here, I'll tell me mine if you tell me yours." And we both live measured with each other. My wrist line to fingertip for me, 21 centimeters. Bojda, 17. 17. Where's the tape measure? Do you see a tape measure? It's sitting around here somewhere. Oh, here it is, on the floor. I actually haven't done this yet, but let me measure 17 centimeters. Bojda has a very small hand. Okay, 17 centimeters is just there. That's the top of his hand. What's going on? He's got a small hand. I didn't know I pulled someone with a hand that small. And the other thing was my elbow to fingertip was 51. His was 46. How do you see that?
Yeah, well, we have got a couple of people in our club who are somewhat similar, maybe not that extreme. I know probably the one we pull the most would be Leo Marcus, or is that small hand, and he just gets so deep in his.
They can set hooks. He can. It's It's like they have the ability to keep their wrist up very well with a short hand that you can't. I don't know, they can protect their wrist well, and then they just supinate. And so that is Bojda, hooker, isn't it? It's just. But does that surprise you how small his hand is? Like the fact that his top finger comes only up to there?
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially seeing as what we pull mostly with Marcus, and so we're used to being the one in that situation.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle Howarth's in the chat. Kyle Howarth, a man. I don't know if you were in here earlier, Kyle, but you were voted the favorite. I think you were 50. Was he 50 something?
Yeah, something like
51% or something. But
I think he came down to 38.
He asked, how tall is Ethan?
192 centimeters.
What was that in feet and inches?
So it's just over 6'3".
Just over 6'3". Okay, there you go.
There you go.
How tall are you, Kyle? Let us know in the chat. How tall are you? And now with 42 votes, Bojda is the 60% favorite. Like I said, we had the early hardcore Ryan fans that were in here voting for me. I appreciate it. And 60-40 is actually what I respectfully predicted it as well. I said, look, 60-40 Bojda is, I think, if you're the bookmaker, that's a fair call. And Giannis came out without Giannis came onto the fix, and he, without knowing what I said, Neil asked him the same thing, and he said 60-40 Bojda as well. I did like it. I don't know if you missed it, YouTube. Neil did ask him who wins, Ryan or Coach Ray, and Giannis went, Ryan. I don't like yes. Sorry, Coach Ray, but you said. Yeah. So that match is coming up. That now I mentioned Gremlins. There's a few things that are making me sweat bullets. I'll let the world know what these are. It's his visa is still pending. Now, 75% of visas are approved on the spot, but he's still pending, and I'm on the phone to the Department of Home Affairs, sorting it out, trying to get it, and they're telling me it's been made urgent. We just gotta wait. But my goodness, the match will happen no matter what. But if his visa's not approved in time, then it'll just be the undercard, and the match will be whenever his visa gets approved, he'll be here. But fingers crossed he's here for the event. But anyway, that's the demons I'm dealing with. They're trying to do a Novak Djokovic on me or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's coming up. So what else we got, man? We got John Brzenk, the resurgent John Brzenk. What do you think about his comeback?
Look, isn't this what we've all been wanting?
Yeah,
and it's been epic. He's been dominating it, just showing he's still got it. Honestly, and he seems to be more enthusiastic. He seems to be training a little bit more than maybe he was even towards the end of his active time in the sport. And we're just seeing him immediately return to an extremely relevant position. Like he crushed Soloev.
Yeah, he
and
did,
of course
didn't
there was some context to that, but that was very impressive.
Hey, I'm gonna get back to John in a moment. Sap the B. He's a very opinionated man, Sap the B. He can he either loves you or he hates you. Where'd the comment go? I just saw a Sap the B. He says, stop misrepresenting that Bojidar will be 87, 88. He said clearly on Race Channel that it'll be 83. Sap the B, I'll tell you right now, he was 87 kilos v. Kirsten. Last night, he said to me on a video call, I will be heavier, Ryan. I will be heavier. I will be 87 to 89 kilos. So, hello, Sap the B. Go eat a sausage or something. I don't know. Back to John. John, yeah, absolutely. I didn't think that he could get back to this degree so easily. He seems to me like when I met him in 2018, he was very much couch John, beer drinking couch John, not interested in the sport. Slowly developed this interest of maybe making a comeback, little dabbled here and there with just training sessions with people, and never really felt or within himself as what he expressed to me that there was ever going to be a comeback on the cards. But somehow we've got him there, and then all of a sudden, the dude's crushing everyone again. What he did to Zoloev was nuts. That's Zoloev, in many people's opinions, he's debatedly prior to this match, he was debatedly number one ranked 100-kilo arm wrestler. He beat Oleg Petrenko last time he faced him. He beat Babayev last time he faced him. He beaten Sasha last time he faced him. So there's a lot there to say. Yeah, he is. There's other people in the conversation that you can say. People like Dada Khan, if at 100's possible, and Ongabayev could make 100. But Ongabayev's and Dada Khan are both over 100. If they came back down, yeah, they're in the debate. Same with Todd Hutchings. If he came down to 100, yeah, in the debate. But it's really at 100 to me. There's only really John, Zoloev, maybe Irakli. Now that he's 100, we don't know where he's at because he's just been getting heavier. But John's crazy, and he's going to face Oleg Petrenko. How do you see that?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it because it's such a polarizing style that Oleg Petrenko brings to the table. Of course, being student of Andrei Pushko, you got that massive side pressure, commitment to cup, commitment to the pin, which is really, really cool. Especially when you look at the approach John Brzenk has to the sport as well. There's not many people who are back in a stopped match versus John Brzenk.
Well, you know, one interesting thing about John Brzenk that I've discovered and found incredibly fascinating is John Brzenk can still straighten completely his arms. if he lays his humerus on his kitchen bench, his wrist touches. Mine nowhere near it. Look at that. That's me. My left goes straight, but my right doesn't. But you know what that shows? It shows you that he has had the dominant hand his entire career, because this happens from joint heavy arm wrestling. When you're putting your elbow out there, you're going, no, my elbow needs to keep me this match because my hand can't. John's always had the strongest hand. He just still straightens his arm. He's just like, what? And it does appear as though he's back in a match, and I do agree with you. Once a match stops, the hand just starts to overwhelm you, doesn't it? And as I'll just get to a super chat, we got Soft Wash Science with a $1.99 super chat. He says, still dodging Roger Cunningham. Not at all, Soft Wash. I actually think it's inevitable. Neil Pickup has made the proposal that we have a ginger off in September of this year under Arm Wars. I don't know whether it's yet possible to get there and whatnot, but it's been proposed, and I like it. I like that ginger rank list. Now I know Jerry Caderet is a former ginger, so we still have to credit him as the number one ranked ginger, but he's a faded out ginger, isn't he? If we're talking vibrant gingers, then it's Roger and I. People say Todd Hutchings is a ginger too. I think he was one of those half gingers. He's not like ginger, but certain lighting when he was young, certain camera angles, you can go, there's a ginger tone going on there. He's not ginger like this and like Roger. But Jerry was. Jerry was fire red. He was like proper fire truck red when he was young. So Jerry is the number one ginger, even though he's faded out, because all gingers fade to light brown in the end. But Roger and I, for the number one ranked current ginger in the world. Interesting arm wars. I mean, you saw he just beat Brandon Elsesser 3-0. Did you see that?
Oh, I've still got to watch that.
Brandon Elsesser's been on an absolute tear as well, crushing everyone. Roger Cunningham just comes out of essentially nowhere and did a really good job. He's a tall guy,
Yep,
really big, tall top roll, but top roll threat, but then immediately into this beautiful triangulated hook of connective tissue, and Brandon just couldn't get through it, couldn't break that down, and he's on his muscles, and he just gasses, and Roger's like, yeah. So 3 rounds in the hook, bang, bang, bang. But mega top roll threat, scaring his opponent, and then straight into that triangulated hook.
Classic, taller, pronated threat inside.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's a few people in the chat saying they're half ginger. Yeah, shout out to all the half gingers of the world. King Hoddle says, eat a sausage sounds like an aborted insult. Yeah, it was. In case the kids are watching, I'm sure Sap Levine knew what I meant. What else we got? So John Brzenk's resurgent, and he's doing things that we didn't think that we'd see in the arm wrestling world from John. There's another gentleman from the USA, Todd Hutchings, who's doing very similar things. Todd's never disappeared, but Todd seems like he's hitting another level that we've never seen before. What's going on there?
Evidently, I think it's probably similar with both of them, that there's a flame that's been lit. John Brzenk, you could see, especially the version of John you were talking about in 2018, just wasn't fun. Arm wrestling wasn't fun. And so now he seems to be having a lot of fun with it. And so you got that fire lit onto him, and he's going, I can enjoy this. I can enjoy the competition. He's just hit new heights. And evidently, Todd Hutchings has just hit a new level of motivation. You saw it with all that banter between him and Lachlan for a period of time, and that kind of disappeared. And then all the banter between the up-and-coming USA pullers as well. I think he's just had a fire lit under him, and he's been going for it. He's been competing like crazy.
Yeah.
And we just, awesome results from it.
Yeah. And yeah, he's calling himself a genuine professional arm wrestler, i.e. he's going and getting paid. He doesn't care who calls him out. He says, yep, here's my price. You want to match with me? It's $4,000 on the table, whatever it is. And he's just cleaning up, isn't he? He doesn't muck around. He literally, you don't even know where Todd is 2 minutes prior to the ready go. And then he turns up out of the bushes, he kicks ass, and then he picks up his bag and goes. That's how it's been. The last few matches, he did that to Lachlan. He did that to Sonev. The man is clinical right now, to say the least. And I want to know your opinion on this. Is there anyone in the world of arm wrestling, full stop, anyone in the world of arm wrestling with elbow conditioning as good as Todd's?
If there is, I don't know who they are. That's tricky. If there is, look, there are freaks out there. So we know our home elbow freaks would be Danny Tesh and Marcus. where they just seem to naturally have a stupid elbow. But in the top scene, I'm not sure there is. I'm really not sure there is anyone who can match him on elbow.
Because naturally, there's guys that can beat Todd Hutchings. Clearly, if you're to throw Todd in the world rankings, I think he's maybe 10 through 12. He's somewhere right there, 10 through 12. Depending on how he goes against the likes of Lachlan and Prudnik and all that sort of stuff, we'll get that indication. But he seems like he's right there. And if you can imagine in the supinated sense, I agree with you. I don't think anyone has the elbow integrity that he has. I don't think Levan has it. Levan is significantly stronger in fundamentals, and he wouldn't ever go there on Todd. But I don't think if Levan was fully supinated and had to stay fully supinated, I don't think he could beat Todd Hutchings.
Yeah, well, you got to consider the biomechanics of it as well. You look at Todd Hutchings, and he's got such a short forearm. So
Low.
the level of elbow integrity that he has is actually super efficient. If I had the same level of elbow integrity as Todd, I couldn't do it anywhere near as much with it because I've got a much longer lever. So he's got the perfect biomechanics to use that elbow really, really effectively. Just contain the back pressure with your fingers and then get right on the arm with the elbow.
Yeah. And someone will take this out of proportion and say that we think Todd can beat Levan. But it's interesting, isn't it? The fact that he does have, as Neil, to use a Neil pickup expression, would be a best in class, best in class, meaning the entire world, of one of the attributes of the sport being just the ability to have a stable and trustworthy elbow that he can ultimately take control of center with the assumption that he's contained back pressure and pronation. He's not going to contain the back pressure and pronation of a Levan or a Vitali or any of the other people that are obvious. But to me, who are the people that he can't beat? Like with certainty, Levan, Vitali, Kadecha. Everyone else on the list, I think he has a shot at. Like he's not the favorite, but he has a shot at.
May not even quite add Kadecha to the list yet.
Kadecha, what percentage is Kadecha likely to win?
Oh, I think
90 what?
Yeah. I think he's like a 90, 95% at least, especially on his current trajectory. But until we see one or two more matches out of him, I wouldn't quite make the claim that Todd can't beat him yet.
For sure. Hey, Aussie arm wrestler Jake Ward has come in with a super chat. He's been a pay-per-view member for 2 months. Jake, you're the man. Ready, bang. How does he do it? He goes, ready. Does he go down or does he go up? Ready, bang. Ready, bang. Is that it, Jake? I think I'm getting the nod from Ethan here. That's down. Ready, bang. There it is. That's a Jake Ward. But he says, if you haven't bought the pay-per-view for the Bojidar match, you're insane. It's going to be mega. Looking forward to Ethan to put his band on the map. Ready, bang. There it is. Yes. So, Jake, thank you. And Jake will be sitting right here. He will be doing the commentary live for this. Next to, of course, Jordan, the Richard Davis, the guest commentator for that. Given that I'm competing, I'm not going to be on the mic. I'm going to be competing. So it'll be Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler, and Jordan Davis sitting right here delivering the commentary. It's going to be epic. So thank you, Aussie arm wrestler, for your pay-per-view membership. And, of course, as he said, guys, sign up. You'll see all the action live. This is the quality that it's going to be. This sort of lighting, this sort of sound. Give us a flex, Ethan. Show us how good your guns look in this light. Oh, they'll look even better. Look at that. It's getting thick.
I'm starting to get some arms. It's crazy.
Getting thick. How old are you now?
Oh, just turned 20.
Just turned 20. Young and growing fast still. But yes, Aussie arm wrestler, thank you very much for that super chat. Now back where were we? It was Todd Hutchings and beating Levan, wasn't it? I'm asking a poll. I'm asking a poll. Okay, how do I ask this? I want to basically get an opinion of. Okay, here we go. Does Todd have any chance at beating Falling? I'll reword it. Todd has a chance beating the Falling. Okay, ranks. Number 3. Thanks. 6. Where do you guys put it? So I'm going to ask you guys, tell me where you think Todd's limit is. Does he have a chance of beating the guys 1 through 3, 4 through 6, or 6 through 10? Give us your opinion now that poll is heading out there. I think 1 through 3 are the only guys he doesn't have a chance at. That's my thoughts. I think literally, yeah, Levan, clearly he's not doing anything. Vitali, too big and too just massively strong in ways that are going to hurt Todd. Kadecha, the same. Too big, too much back pressure, too much pronation, too thick a wrist for Todd to contain it and do his thing. But then I say, okay, well, who's rank 4? That's a debate in itself. Some people say Devon, some people say Hermes. They're pretty much the two that everyone's saying. Some people say Dave Chafee. Dave's one of those borderline ones that when you watch Todd train with Dave, sometimes he looks like he could beat him, and then other times you're like, no, he really can't. I don't know. 47% of people say he's in the 6 through 10. 31% are saying 4 through 6. There's 25% of people think he can have a crack at the 1 to 3s.
Ouch.
Could Todd ever, can Todd ever be the number 1 ranked arm wrestler in the world?
I'm going to say no. Sorry, Todd.
Oh, why don't we lose your camera? What's going on? Keep talking. We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, I'm going to say that there's a limit to what you can do with your frame. There is a size limit that ultimately that those top 1 till 5 are always going to have a certain frame to be able to get there, because everyone in the top is arm wrestling obsessed and training. Everybody's got that conditioning. Everybody's got the technique, and ultimately that frame makes a big difference when you get to those top 5, top 10, and as the sport gets bigger and bigger, the top 20 arm wrestlers that are going to be out there. So as far as Todd claiming number 1, when you have people like Vitali and Levan, I'm not sure he's ever going to claim that number 1. But in respect to his weight class and in respect to at his size, getting into that top 10, I think it's possible. And I think that's just that is an amazing achievement in itself.
It is. And I give me 2 seconds, YouTube. Whilst I'm talking, Ethan, I need you to go and check this cord. I reckon Ethan's kicked the cord and he's lost the power to his camera. Ethan's sitting there amongst all the cables doing his thing, kicking cords as he's talking about Todd Hutchings. Or I could be wrong. If it's just going into there, as long as it's all good. Anyway, jump over there. Grab you'll see a battery. I'll go to battery power for old Ethan's camera in my camera bag. This is high level stuff right here as Ethan goes through that. But Todd Hutchings, 25% of you think 1 to 3, 31% 4 to 6, 42% 6 to 10. I'm stunned that there's 25% of people who think that it can be 1 to 3. All right, Ethan's coming back. We got a battery. Let me just put a battery in the camera that was on Ethan. We can't miss Ethan's good-looking face, can we? Let's see if this helps. All right, let's have a look. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, there's the other camera. There he is. He's back. He's back. Oh, goodness me. Can't trust this Ethan guy. Kicking cords somewhere, I bet he is. Anyway, we got a battery. We're back. Then the other East versus West match that I wanted to discuss. Oh, by the way, Aussie arm wrestler said it was a perfect ready bang. Thanks, Jake. Good on you, man. We do have another super chat from Soft Wash Science, so we'll address that. $4.99. He says, "Talk about John more, please." And Roger's secondhand joint smoke might beat Levan if the match stops. Roger's secondhand. Okay, fair enough. I don't know. Fair enough about Roger. I don't know about that. But talk more about John. All right. He wants us to talk. He's paid us to talk about John. So Soft Wash Science, we'll talk about John. Okay, so John, do you think John, when if I think about John as an arm wrestler, I think I remember asking him the question, how long did it take for you to transition from novice to amateur to pro to world level? And he said a year and a half, and he was beating everyone. Who does that? But anyway, from teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and now at age 57, there's now reasonable debate to say John is the number one ranked arm wrestler in the world for his weight. It's not like unanimous, but I would bet that at least 30% of the world's arm wrestling fans would vote for John. He's something different, isn't he?
Absolutely. And we were talking. I was talking before about Todd's genetics, and that I think that would be the limiting factor. The fact that he could never really get to that top one position. I think if we got John Brzenk back in the day, actually prep for a match for once, and prep in the same way that Levan has.
You saying if John's, or how many months of prep?
Oh, okay. Let's give him a solid 18 months of prep. You know, let's give him 18 months. I think
what would he turn into?
Yeah, that's a question. But I think he would beat Levan. I think that version of John, get prime John on all that.
At the end of the day, there was a time when Levan was under 100 kilos.
Yeah.
So if we scaled John proportionately as per Levan, yeah, John wins. If John was weighing 140 kilos, John wins.
Yeah.
Against anyone. There's nothing anyone's doing against 140. If the one this was a question asked to us the other day about pound for pound who is the best arm wrestler in the world. Difficult question to answer given we there's no one bigger than Levan, so we can't. It's hard to tell. He clearly is just beating everyone at the moment. But how do you measure? How do you stack up everyone? If you had to say pound for pound, give us your top three in current world rank order.
Oh, in current world rank order.
Yeah, pound for pound.
Well, I think this is potentially a little. When I think about the science behind it, and when I try to think about it analytically, it lends itself very much towards your lightweights. It really lends itself towards your peak lightweights. Because if you just take a percentage scale, right? Let's say that they compete at 75 kilos, and you got someone competing at 150 kilos. That person 150 has to be twice as strong. You just don't see that. And so I think really you're going to take your top three of your peak lightweights, and maybe one of your top middleweights.
If you had just a magical chamber and you had to put Giannis Amlins in it, and you could dial up the percentage of size and just everything that is Giannis, you could make it an 85 kilo, a 90 kilo, 100 kilos, 105 kilos. At what weight does Giannis beat Levan?
Oh, what weight?
And there's no extra fat coming with it. It's just Giannis as he is, but taller and broader, and all the same ratios,
and all the same power to weight as well coming with
the same power to weight. What weight does Giannis Amlins beat Levan?
It probably comes in around 100 to 110 kilos.
You think no?
Because no. If you scale up a person, right? If you scale up a person, your weight increases according to the volume of your muscle, right? Your strength doesn't increase according to the volume of the muscle. It's much more relative to your cross-sectional area. So it's very inefficient to become larger. It is. Whereas if you take that aspect away from it, you get some pretty insane numbers coming out.
I don't believe for a second that 100 kilo Giannis could get to 100. He could.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the same as you scaling them up. That's a very different.
The chambered version is very different from
extremely different. I don't think 100 kilo.
I want to know what chambered version of me gets Levan then.
I don't think it happens.
The 500 kilo one?
No. Yeah, it would happen scaled up somewhere, maybe at the moment, probably north of 110 with the tools you have. But something
ladies and gentlemen, and the Delusional Ethan series has just been born.
Look, to be clear, I don't think a 110 version of you would stand a chance right now in terms of a reality. But that chamber takes the reality out of it, and so you can have. It
would be a cool chamber to have, though.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy.
It would be.
Take young Jamie Barrett.
Oh,
that we've got here,
yeah,
and
if
it's
Scout,
junior
just
champ.
double everything that Jamie is.
Yeah, just junior world champ straight away.
We're getting into far-fetched sort of realms now, but hey, it's good for a laugh and it's good fun. Michael Todd v Prudnik has been announced by Engen. Is that going to be a downward trend for Michael, or is that somewhere where he finds balance and gets a win? I'm terrified for Michael. You don't think so?
No, I share your opinion there. I've been wanting to see old Michael come back. That's what I've been waiting for old Michael to come back. I don't know whether he's still having issues with his thumb. I don't know where he's at injury-wise, but we're not seeing the same full commit to pure ugly back pressure and drag that we used to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his lane. I think when he starts trying to compete on the other fundamentals, the other guys are just too far ahead at the moment. And they're too complete to be able to counter that.
Yeah. Without winning without being dominant in the back pressure pronation, everything else is not there, is it?
No, not at all.
He's not ready for the fight anywhere else. And he used to dominate back pressure pronation on everyone. No one could stop Michael's back pressure pronation, and they had to work out what to do. Had to retreat and climb or bury under like Jerry. But what has happened that Michael's back pressure and pronation is suddenly containable? Has Michael gone backwards, or has the world gone up?
I'm not sure it's either of them. I think we saw Michael versus Gennady recently, and the first round, you see the match stop, and you look at Michael's posture when the match stopped. And he celebrated on the stop because that's usually all he needs, right? He was standing up with his Gennady was practically on his bicep. You had his pronation fully supinated, really, and he was just using that connection tissue lock while standing up. And he's done nothing to disengage Gennady in that position. Gennady still has full access. As a top roller, I would dream of being in that position. Whereas then if you get that same stop and Michael's lying all the way down with his shoulders inches away from being illegal, you've got a very, very different match. So I don't know.
Yeah, because when you go from the point of your elbow to the inside of your elbow, your shoulder adds the extra pronation, doesn't it? And it's not done in a muscular sense. It's just done in a joint positioning sense. So do you think the demise of Michael in the ranks has been because he's been self-conscious about the rule and the interpretation that the fans perhaps throw at him? Do you think that's it?
Absolutely. I think that's a big part. I think that's a very big part. You see him also training his side pressure hit a lot more, which is big. He's got a mega hit, but again, when you put it up to the people that he was competitive with, it's not enough to catch up in that sense. So I think he needs to revert to his ugly arm wrestling.
Do you think he will? Do you think he'll go back to just saying, I don't care what the internet says, I'm going down here? And flirt with that hatred?
I hope so. I want to see it. I think it's a little bit like the dreams of John coming back. It doesn't look likely right now. He's got an awesome YouTube career ahead of him, and I know he's really invested in that, and he wants to progress that, and that might be holding him back a little bit in terms of reverting to that just ugly in a visual sense, but in a technical sense, somewhat beautiful style that he had going on for him.
It is a style that it's funny you say ugly but beautiful. There's never been a more polarizing style for the fans and observers of the sport that pisses them off. Yet at the same time, the people that enjoy it just are like, well, screw you. Trust me, it's awesome. It's a hard rule to police, isn't it? The whole shoulders dipping below the table, the humorous angle being negative when you're in a neutral or defensive half of the table. It's not the easiest thing. You can say it as an organizer or as a referee that it's easy to call, but it's tricky to call. And Michael's never had a problem. He doesn't lose matches on fouls. You don't see Michael lose matches because his shoulder's gone too low. So he always takes as much as he can without being called on it. So I don't know if he goes back. He's made that declaration that he's going back. I think he's taken the pressure off himself. He's not aiming for Levan anymore. He's just taking matches. But him versus Prudnik, what happens for you?
Right now, I think Prudnik's got it. I think Prudnik is going to keep his wrist on the initiation. If Prudnik keeps his wrist and keeps his shoulder intact off go, he's won.
Mm.
I just think he's going to have far too much control over Michael Todd's hand from that position. If Prudnik does not establish a secure wrist, then it's anyone's game,
Mm.
and may actually end up favouring Michael. So look for the initiation. Look to see if Prudnik keeps his shoulder and keeps his hand. Because if he keeps his shoulder and keeps his hand, I think it's over for Michael.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. There's Michael, even though he can create stops from that position like this, he can't win from there. He can hang around and delay the inevitable. But Prudnik's an ultra intelligent arm wrestler. In terms of table IQ, that man is he's alive to what needs to be done, and he'll sit there, and I think he would just work his way and just take more and more and more and more and more, and then just kind of laugh at how easy it is to prevent Michael getting out. Michael must win the pronation back pressure. He must. It's just he needs to get Prudnik stuck over here, going, and worried about that, worried that he can't cup, worried that he can't pronate. He needs to force that issue. Otherwise, like you said, it'll be done. But that is one that Angan Terzi has flagged on East vs West 3. Among others, Lachlan Adair, Sandra Sadis. Interesting one, that one. We all want to see that. Can Lachlan beat the Latvian wonder?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I think Lachlan is more than strong enough. I know we've discussed this a lot. Lachlan is more than strong enough, but what we've really got, the issue he has, he hasn't got a lot of competition experience behind him.
Mm.
He's been pretty hampered these last couple of years. He would have had a lot more tournaments, a lot more matches. And so you just see when he gets to that ready go, when he gets to an unfamiliar environment, that really starts to hamper him. In a familiar environment versus you, we saw it perfectly, executed brilliantly.
Yeah.
But as soon as
Bastard.
his game plan starts to fall apart, he struggles to adjust. So that's going to be his biggest challenge versus someone who has a lot more experience in that ready go than he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, in that if we're just measuring who's the stronger human, Lachlan probably has the edge. And I think these guys have very comparable lifts. They're both trained under Giannis, both students of Giannis. So they were always comparing lifts. And I think, from what I understand, Lachlan always had the edge in the lifts. But as we know, competition starts just so valuable and crucial. The confidence to back yourself and make the right decision, and have the elbow conditioning to back it up. Because, like we just saw with Bojidar and Kirsten Prodigy, I think Kirsten in a gym, in an arm wrestling sense, probably had sufficient numbers to be comparable to Bojidar, but clearly didn't have the center table integrity of Bojidar. So Lachlan and Sanders, you have to give the edge to Sanders in terms of that center table experience and conditioning. Does that mean that Sanders is going to wipe it? I don't think so. When I look at Lachlan in the hook against Todd and Sonev in the hook against Todd, Lachlan showed more fight in the hook. There was more. You could see that Lachlan in that position was stronger than Sonev was, in my opinion. I think Sonev has better center table from the experience, but in a muscular sense, Lachlan was stronger. If it ends up there against Sanders, I don't think Sanders will get a decisive pin, and then it becomes an arm wrestle. But then it probably favors Sanders because of the technicality. So Lachlan has to be a margin stronger to win this match, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. But it's also interesting when we look at Chance Shaw and how he managed that match. Where inside there seemed to be a lane inside. Of course, a very different lane to what Lachlan uses, but that seems to be the ability to access that stop. By defeating the pronation, just enough to get an arm on arm, and Lachlan, one of his biggest strengths is his fingers. That is his one of his key weapons.
Yeah.
The question is whether or not his pronation gets exposed like it was versus Todd.
Yeah, that's true. Chance did show Lachlan a lane that Lachlan would be excited by, but but Chance got to that lane because Sanders went there. it wasn't Chance that forced him into that hook. I mean, Chance is a top roller and then got turned in and then went, oh, okay, guess what? I guess I can bang here sideways. I don't think Sanders would do that to Lachlan. I don't think Sanders would voluntarily come forward on Lachlan. That's gifting
No.
Lachlan way too much access to his strength. Sanders will try to keep him at bay and high hook him or even top roll him. I don't think he'd top roll him. I haven't seen Lachlan's wrist just go back. I don't think I've really ever seen his wrists go back from memory. I mean, he had, interestingly, Lachlan Adair is the only man in the history of Australian arm wrestling to defeat Gunter Zbykovs, who, I don't know if Sanders Sadis knows Gunter Zbykovs, but Gunter Zbykovs was formerly the Latvian super heavyweight champion before Sanders came along. And Gunter's moved to Australia and no one could touch him. Lachlan beat Gunter's in his first 12 months in the sport. And it was forcing Gunter's, who's a big, tall, 130 kilo low hand top roller. He forced him into a hook. So I don't recall a time when Lachlan has had his wrist blown open. So I don't think Sanders would do it, but he can keep him flat, yes, and then he can work from there. Anyway, that's a match that is a juicy one for, particularly for the Aussies watching. We're always after those updates. But guys, we've been in here live now for 56 minutes. So last call for questions if you have for us. Right now, what I might do is I'll turn my attention to your comments, see if I've missed anything particularly interesting. I can see that Roger Cunningham's been in there talking quite a bit. What else has he got going on? And Benji Mac, thank you for moderating, Benji. Appreciate that, man. And guys, whilst I'm waiting for questions from you guys, can I get you to hit the like button? We got 44 likes at the moment. Let's see if we can somehow get that to 100 likes. I don't know if there's enough people in here. We've got 80 people watching. I don't know if enough of you haven't yet clicked like to get it to 100. But getting it up to 100 definitely helps the sport get noticed by new people. The algorithm starts to notice, oh, what's going on here? All these likes, all that sort of stuff. So hit that like button for us now. We'll watch that number go up. And we'll see how high we can get it. But Roger Cunningham, looking back here, he said a 420 kilo ginger Bowen drinking anabolic Yeti semen for over a decade might beat Levant. Who's the better looking redhead, Roger? You know the answer to that one. That's for sure. I got this Justin Timberlake look going on at the moment.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Roger.
Everyone. This guy, Edward.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a little bit of controversy when it came to the names you put up for the undercard.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of comment, especially on mine. But I am glad you did not go with Edward,
the engineer. Yeah, people were offended. They were like, "How can he be? You can't say he understands this sport like a science." It's like, but you really do. You are someone who's approached the sport in a very deep thinking way.
Well, I probably had a slightly different approach to a lot of people, in that I've actually been watching this sport and studying it and really interested in the technical side for a lot longer than I've been arm wrestling for almost 2.5 years, right? I've been watching since 2014. And the reason I stayed watching arm wrestling was because I enjoyed analyzing it. So I came into the sport with a lot of theoretical knowledge. And so arm wrestling and training has just helped me combine that and actualize that and actually realize its physical application, which has been a lot of fun.
Nice. Now I'm going to end the show, guys, with one final poll. One final poll for you guys. It's not who's the better looking redhead. And we know that one. It's given. Just lock that one in, take it to the bank, whatever. But we're going to end it with one final poll. And this is a match that everyone wants to see. And I believe we will see it. I don't think there's been announcements yet. You guys will tell me in the chats if there's been announcements yet. But I have heard on many grapevines that this match is coming to be. I want to know who takes this one, ladies and gentlemen. Brzenk v. Hutchings. Who takes it? Who you got?
Oh, I want to go Brzenk. I really do. I really want to go Brzenk. In my mind, it's a 60-40 favorite to Todd right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I just think about it and I visualize the match in my head, but I think Brzenk can take it. I really, really do. And I think if he takes it, he could potentially look dominant doing it.
Dominant?
If he does take it. if he's not, if he doesn't have complete control over Todd Hutchings' hand,
yep,
I don't think it goes his way.
Yeah. Well, historically, these guys, I mean, John has a winning record on Todd, but Todd, right from his earliest years in the sport, gave John trouble.
Mm.
Always gave John trouble. His relentlessness, he'd just throw that shoulder in, he'd commit, and he just fully supinate. And John couldn't take his wrist off him and turn him palm up. He could take his wrist off him, but Todd would just get on John's bicep. John is always confident. I've heard John answer this question. He'd be like, "Yeah, I know, I get Todd. I'll take Todd. I'll show you how to beat Todd." But Todd has never stopped, and Todd does appear to be in a rich vein of form right now, where his strength seems like it's leveled up to a degree we've never seen before. But Brzenk is back, and John, if we just this shows how you can't compare matches with matches. Zoloev beat Hutchins 5-1. And then Brzenk just toyed with Zoloev only some 4 months later. That by no means means that John toys with Todd. Very different match. And I think that if Todd were to face Zoloev again, you'd have to have Todd as the favorite now. I don't know. That's what my gut feel is. But anyway, you guys have let us know what your opinion is. And at the moment, 68% of people saying Brzenk takes it. 68%. Edging up to 70 now. I think Brzenk's got the popularity factor too. People want Brzenk to win, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Always these polls are interesting because I don't know what percentage of people vote with their heart versus their head.
Well, you have that in the answer I gave as well.
Exactly.
It's like, well, my head's saying that Todd Hutchings should have this, especially looking at his recent matches. The fact that he does seem to have leveled up in terms of his strength. But my heart wants to see John Brzenk keep on this winning streak, keep tearing through people. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard not to side with the GOAT when it comes to who you want to win. The fairy tale is always on. I do think John has already achieved more in this sport than any other athlete has achieved in their sport. I don't think anyone's been top of the world in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And heaven forbid, 4 years' time, he might be in his 60s and doing it. Like, you can't rule him out, can you? You can't say that a 60-year-old John still couldn't do what he's doing now. It's only 3 years away.
Oh, not only that.
It's 2.5 years away.
Yeah.
John
Not
turned
only
60.
that, John's returned to the top. He hasn't just returned to the top in scrappy wars and barely made it. He's dominated. He's been a dominant force at the top. So you can't count him out in a few years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. John will take matches with anyone though at the same time, but he's been thrust into these enormous matches. You see him calling out Engen. He's facing Engen Terzi next in Norway in what was originally going to be a casual super match. I think Engen's taking it seriously, but John literally says, "I'm not going to stop training," and he's putting out posts saying, "Do I even need to train for this lightweight?" Like, the fact that to me, that shows you how amazing John is, that he can totally joke about how easy Engen's going to be, and he's right. That's it's crazy. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine being able to be that confident against someone of Engen's caliber?
No. Maybe it will come. That's a long-term goal, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Anyway, ladies and gents, we might wrap this one up. Thank you so much for being part of the show this week. The Pound for Pound Arm Wrestling Show. Ethan and I are going to be doing this every week unless there is an Arm Fights Unleashed event on, which, of course, is only 2 weeks away. Don't forget, Ethan will be featuring he's taking on Greg Allen in the arena battle, and then Kyle Howarth up against Torben Pelikan. Then myself against Bojan Simonov. It will all be happening in the pay-per-view section of this channel. So go and hit that pay-per-view up and you'll see it all live. Aussie arm wrestler Jake Ward's going to be calling it. Jordan the Reacher Davis is going to be sitting here as well. It's going to be epic. Myself, B. Bojda, truth or delusion, we're going to finally get an answer. Don't miss it, ladies and gents. And we will see you guys again next week. All right, let's end it.